Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi. In today's live noding series, I will be exploring the idea of lofting. I will be using Animation Nodes and Sverchok for this. Um, Lofting is the terminology that when I learned 3D, it's the idea of when if you supply a bunch of splines, curve, you can loft it so you can get like a mesh, like a complete mesh like that. Or if you have like a bunch of circle, you can loft it if you select the spline in order, and you can loft it to turn it into like a proper mesh, like a fully enclosed mesh, something like that. There is also something called revolve, or sometimes called lathe, and that's if you provide like a profile of surface, and then you want to revolve it based on a certain axis, and so you can get like a pot, or like a wine glass, or a bowl, or things like that. So lofting and revolve, there are two very useful concepts when you're doing procedural modeling. So today's topic is about modeling. Yeah, so if we jump into compositing, for modeling, actually, I would suggest you to use Sverchok. However, it really depends on how the developers is going to give us, the artists, how to create the. It depends on. Depends on whatever they are concentrating on. I think it's best to say that Sverchok is really good for modeling, although it can get a little bit complex, but it's really good and powerful. While Animation Nodes is made for animations, it's a lot simpler that way, to think that way. Sverchok wasn't meant for animations, but as we know that because animation is just interpolations of values between two different values, so that's why Sverchok can be for animation as well. Anyhow, so let's say we start with animation nodes. I'm going to use both of them, and maybe combination of both, and so you can understand what's going on. With animation nodes, we have the lofting and revolve node here. With we're gonna start with revolve. Start with lofting, because I think it's a little bit simpler, sort of. So with lofting, we got a node like this, and then we always need to only care about the input and the output, and what's the nodes is actually function. So here we go. We have like vertices, polygons. That means it's gonna output mesh. Okay, the output is not like a NURBS or surface. It's gonna be like a polygon mesh. So we can do that quite easily. I'm going to do something that's really simple first. So that's the target. We have an empty object target. Now we gotta provide spline. Spline is slightly a little bit more complex because we don't know where to start. I would start with generators. We have line and grid. Grid is not so useful for lofting, I don't think. So we use lines. Okay, this is gonna be the basic lofting modeling using Animation Nodes and Sverchok. So line mesh will generate line, okay, as we already know, but we need spline, so we need to convert it into spline. And spline, we have handy node called from points or something, create from points. Okay, we already know that line will generate a bunch of lines, and if we plug in we have the points here. If plug into the spline from points, we get spline. Can't see it yet. And then I can plug it to that guy. As you can see, it's actually expecting more than a single points. So let's try doing that. So it needs a spline list. You can't just loft one curve. So I created two, and we're not seeing anything yet. But if I go to wireframe, see, we can see something's going on. So I'm moving the X on the second curve slightly to the side, and if I go to wireframe, I can see what's going on. So now it's quite clear that we have two lines, basically two lines, and we are lofting between those two lines, and we get that. Okay, this is that's the basic. Okay, and we can adjust the parameters of this resulting target objects, and we could, let's say, we could play around with this. We could have another one that create another loft guy and see. Now it's a bit clearer what's going on. I could move this guy in the Y directions, and you can continue on until you create like a fence or something. The beginning of fence anyway. And that's quite procedural, and you can really mess around with this to get to that point. However, the line maybe not so interesting, so I will want to use something like a circle. Unfortunately, Animation Nodes doesn't have circle yet. You can, of course, make the circle using script node, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna use Sverchok for that. Okay. So in this case, Sverchok and Animation Nodes gonna be like a team. So it's teamwork. Let's create a circle. Sverchok circle, and then I'm gonna create a bmesh, viewer bmesh. So the resulting with a bmesh viewer draw node, the resulting object is gonna be like a real objects right away in the scenes instead of using viewer draw. Viewer draw. With a viewer draw, you have like a kind of like a ghost kind of object, and you need to bake it before you can do anything further. But the advantage of viewer draw is really fast, and you can switch on and off, and it's kind of like a preview before your final mesh. You can use that too, but I'm just gonna use this. Plug in the we are not generating circle mesh like that. All we need is like a circle with just made of edges. Let's make it like 12. Keep it simple for now. And I want to make like a duplicate of these circles. How are we going to do that? By using matrix. This is the Sverchok thing. Matrix in. And now it's already generating duplicates, but you can't see. Maybe only one duplicate. Now we're gonna generate. I like to use line because lines kind of goes up, or if we just use the vertices of line. You see how Sverchok just generate multiple lines like that? We want the lines to go up, so let's modify the vector or the points. Vector out, vector in, and it should go up, so it's the value of x goes to z, and then it will take care of itself. Let's make just a 3 for now. Let's save this real quick. It's gonna be ANSV Lofting, and that's a real object, just like if you are creating the circle manually yourself. But the advantage, of course, you can increase the circle and reduce it. It's all procedural, and you can adjust the parameter anytime. Let's say like a circle, you can make it bigger, smaller, increase the vertex number. The thing with lofting is you need to ensure that each element has the same number of points. Okay, so let's go back to animation nodes, and okay, Sverchok needs to have just generate 3 circles for now, like I said. Back to animation nodes. So instead of this line mesh, we're gonna bring in this guy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and for that I can use like list object list, create object list. It says you can bring it like this, and you can bring it one by one like that. Select one, select second one, but you can do it in one go. I just figured out the other day, if you tap U, first remove the unlinked inputs, and then second just get from selections, so you get your selection. From objects to spline, we need to spline from objects. Can we get spline from objects? Maybe we cannot, but we can get a mesh data from objects. Okay, get object mesh data, and this is a list of objects. Plug that in. Okay, I'm expecting that to happen, and we can put that in. Get list element, object mesh data, and we're gonna do it a few times. Like that, and like that. We're gonna get the second one and get a third one. Plug in, plug and plug that in, and the output, hopefully, just not forgetting to plug in that. And the final output is gonna be this target object. Just create a new one, and there you go. So you get like a mesh happening. That should be a cyclic, I believe. So we have like a cylinder almost. It is a cylinder. Yeah, so that's cool. How about, what else can we do about this? What if we have more, like 4 or 5 or 6? We don't want to have to do this all the time. Whenever you see something like this, that means you can use a loop in order to save you having to manually create this setup each time. Okay, and so let's see. This is the part that I want to turn into a loop, and we are expecting the output's gonna be just splines plug into the loft splines node. So that's the plan. Let's save this first. Okay, we know this is an object list, and then so I'll start with this guy, and then I'll tap W and create a loop through list. So we know that it's doing a loop, and it's doing for each object list. It's gonna be doing this. So I'll create a copy of this guy, and this guy. Maybe I need this as well. You're gonna see something that's kind of almost magical. So with objects, we don't need to get list element. The loop will take care of this. So we just plug that in. We have object mesh data, spline from points, create spline list. This we need to get rid of the rest. Okay. So I just press tab U and then remove unlinked inputs. And now this guy will take care of everything. It's gonna be doing the loop inside this loop input. The output is gonna be list of splines. Okay, list of spline output. So we need to click on new generator output and say spline list. In fact, we don't need to create spline list. I guess just plug that in. So we save a lot of nodes. It's a lot simpler now. We don't need all this, and we can delete it. I accidentally delete the spline list output. Now all we have is this guy. Bunch of object inputs, and the loop's gonna be doing the calculations and then spline list. There you go. So much easier. In fact, if you are now selecting this guy, we can bring into animation nodes and it will do the lofting for us. This is exactly what we need. The lofting can be simpler, but this is quite elegant actually. Let me try to select so I'll just delete the target for now, delete it. Select this one by one for now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then once again, with this guy selected, tap U, remove unlink and get from selections. And the list is growing now. And create a target. Now we have that guy. Okay, that's basically the power of lofting, and this is all procedural. Sverchok is still generating the circle for us, and we can have this updating as we want, as we are changing the parameters. However, as you can see, if we are increasing the number of circle or decreasing it, yeah, things will break once again, because from Sverchok to animation nodes, it cannot tell about the objects, list of objects. We need a clever way to kind of connect the two. Of course, we can use grouping, and luckily Sverchok also provide that. There's here's called grouping, so we can turn on the group. And then let's Sverchok update. The group is gonna be called alpha. And if I just Sverchok doesn't always update itself. If I just increase the frame number, now you can see the resulting circles are grouped. Okay, and that's really handy. We can go back to animation nodes and we can grab objects from group, and our group is called alpha. just plug that in. There you go. It's working. And now if we go back to Sverchok and increase it, decrease it. Decrease doesn't work somehow. Maybe we can increase it anyway. Let's make it 10, 11, 12. There could be like a hiccup or something. I'll select all and delete all and regenerate and regroup it. Alpha. Maybe I just found a bug. So bunch of circle matrix. Let's call it's not grouping somehow. Let me double check. Groups. Turn on, turn off group. Let's call the group something else like beta. I think it's there, but we just have like a weird duplicate somewhere. So we still have the alpha, that's why. Or is that the name of... Well, anyway, there must be a group called beta. And I'm expecting it to just work. Oh, create target. Okay, it's working. Now we can do a little bit more with this. With the scaling, for example, we can have like a random, just a random. Okay, random number. Random number should have this. We need like a 10 different random value, and we can use it as a scale value. But it's expecting a vector. So we can do it like this. Plug that in. It's a vector. Yeah, and we can play around with the seed. It's the Tower of Karin, like in a Dragon Ball Z. We can have like a smaller radius. Play with the seed. And we can generate more or less, but the number of vertices of the line and the random number should be the same. Don't want to confuse Sverchok or animation nodes. See, seems like it's losing it again. Maybe the matrix got confused. Anyhow, so we have that's happening. Okay, and the radius, let's just increase it. So kind of generating this kind of sculpture. Yep, very cool. Let's see. and you can further smooth this guy. Subdivision. If you find that the resulting mesh is not smooth, you probably can smooth it inside animation nodes. Smooth, shade object smooth. That's kind of, yeah, you want that to happen. Now save this. I want to point out that you can actually generate this inside just a Sverchok, but it's just slightly more complicated. But it's gonna be, yeah, I don't think, maybe Sverchok has lofting, but it doesn't have lofting. The last time I checked it, and the way to generate this in Sverchok is to actually turn it into, you need like a cylinder kind of data. Wonder if I should show that. Maybe I should. So back to animation nodes. I just killed this guy. So we just left with these circles. We don't want the alpha. Okay, we already have this beta circle. Let's select all the alpha. Luckily, Blender has this way to select objects by name. So I want to get all the alpha and delete it. Now we're left with this beta. Let's go to Sverchok. I want to show you this because not many people understand. We start with circle and we're using matrix to kind of create duplications. In order to create like a kind of like lofting or like a cylinder with a different circle, we can use a cylinder, in fact. So I don't want to confuse you yet. First thing, I will apply the matrix. And we are left with a vector, but it's already applied. And I can join it. I believe this is how we do it. Mesh join. Vertices. I'm joining the vertices. And let's output using the viewer draw. Let's see what we got if we just bake this. We need a poly edge. Let's plug that in. Doesn't work because the poly edge needs to be repeated. List repeater, that's what we need. And we're gonna repeat it. How many do we have? 20 times. 20 times. Unwrap it. It says poly H16. Maybe I did something wrong. Okay, maybe level 1 and leave unwrap alone, like just like that. Okay, so we can bake it and then see the result. So, and as you see, it's actually joins together as a single mesh. That's important. The funny thing is, if we actually use cylinder and then providing the face polygon data, and I believe we can just plug that in and then make the subdivisions 20 and then match the number of circle 16. We get ourselves the same kind of a structure. I can bake it. So this is not really like not revolving in any way. Let's try to select the resulting object. Must be called SV. That's SV0. Let's try baking it again. For unknown reason, it doesn't bake. Let's delete that. Bake. Weird. You have the cap, can have the cap on and off. Maybe we need to have more or less subdivisions. Height we don't need to worry, we just need to worry about that. Let's bake it. Now we're actually generating what we want. So, and since this is all in Sverchok, let's see. We need to match the number of vertices. Okay, I'll do that. Integer 16. Let's make it 6 for now. Then the number is 20. Let's match the number of list. Now we can generate that. Okay, I forgot to also plug this in. Subdivisions. There we go. Sverchok. Tower of Karin. 80. Can have more. And this is procedural. You can play with the random seed and get a different result. So that's if you're doing it with Sverchok, okay? With certain setups, Sverchok can work with animation nodes. As you can tell, it's actually interesting because the way Sverchok works, and you cannot really have like, I mean, you might be able to do lofting as well. Sverchok has actually revolve, and they call it lathe, and that single node is doing the lathe, but that's gonna be for the next video, I guess. So this is lofting exercise. You can generate that kind of structure, both using Sverchok and animation nodes. Hopefully you find this video useful.